From discreet crowd monitoring to aerial surveillance and armored motorcades, Vladimir Putin's security network is unlike anything you've ever seen. We'll uncover the elite agencies guarding him, the advanced technology they deploy, and the global operations that extend his reach far beyond Moscow. Stay with me until the end, because the final layer of this protection system is something most people never even knew existed. The elite agencies guarding Putin's life. The security surrounding Vladimir Putin is not just a wall of bodyguards, it's a system engineered over decades and refined with precision. At the center of this network are the Federal Protective Service, FSO, and the Presidential Security Service, SBP, elite agencies with roots in the most trusted protection units of the Soviet era. This heritage guarantees a culture of discretion, discipline, and absolute loyalty. Getting into these agencies is no easy feat. Candidates are hand-picked from the top graduates of Russia's elite military and intelligence academies, then subjected to months of psychological testing, endurance trials, and background checks that leave nothing unexamined. Only a fraction make it through, each one trained to anticipate threats before they appear. Once inside, training shifts into high gear. Operatives are taught advanced counter-surveillance, defensive driving, and the use of specialized technology. The investment in each recruit can exceed $500,000, covering everything from tactical drills to mastering secure communication systems. The hardware that supports them is equally formidable. Putin's motorcade includes Mercedes-Maybach S680 Guard sedans, valued at about $2 million each, designed to withstand extreme ballistic threats, while offering a mobile command center on wheels. These vehicles travel alongside armored SUVs and support units, forming a moving fortress. Every public appearance triggers a multi-layered operation. Drones equipped with high-resolution optics patrol the skies, while encrypted communications link every team on the ground. In some cases, signal control equipment, valued in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, is deployed to block interference or remote SIGMA-rated devices. Even appearance matters. Bodyguards are often dressed in tailored suits from brands like Armani or Brioni, blending into diplomatic events while concealing protective gear. They move with calculated precision, ensuring the leader remains surrounded by a constant, invisible shield. This is more than security, it's a show of capability. Every detail, from vehicle convoys to aerial monitoring, sends the same message. The resources behind this protection are vast, and the system is built to handle anything. Comment Unseen Shield if you think this is the most formidable protection network in the world. And keep watching, because next we'll explore tactics and global operations that take this security to an entirely different level. Layers of defense inside the bodyguard structure. When it comes to Vladimir Putin's personal protection, the structure is designed like a living, breathing fortress. His security is divided into 4 specialized units, each with a role so precise that together they form an unbroken shield. Closest to him are the close protection teams, the operatives you might catch in the corner of a camera frame. They are trained to move in perfect sync, never more than a step away, and to react in less than a second to any sudden movement. Many wear tailored Armani or Brioni suits that blend into a high-profitable setting, yet underneath, their attire may conceal lightweight ballistic panels worth tens of thousands of dollars, making them both stylish and virtually impenetrable. A step farther out, the discreet crowd observation teams operate almost invisibly. They're positioned in lobbies, among guests, or even inside press groups, scanning for micro-expressions, body language shifts, and unusual patterns in the crowd. Their equipment isn't limited to an earpiece. Some carry miniature optics and encrypted communication devices costing upwards of $20,000 each, allowing them to feed real-time intelligence to the entire network. Beyond that lies the perimeter security layer. These specialists manage controlled entry points, vehicle checks, and scanning zones that begin long before Putin arrives. Every route is mapped and alternative pathways are on standby. Armored SUVs, such as Range Rover Sentinel units valued at over $500,000, stand ready for rapid extraction. The placement of these vehicles is no accident. Each position is calculated to allow a seamless retreat if a situation demands it. Finally, the long-range overwatch units are stationed where they cannot be seen: rooftops, elevated platforms, or behind tinted glass. These operators are trained marksmen, working with precision-engineered rifles and spotting scopes that can cost as much as $15,000 each. They are not just there to neutralize a threat. They are constantly feeding information into a coordinated command structure that links every security layer. What makes this setup extraordinary is how seamlessly all 4 units operate as one. Their zones of responsibility overlap, so a threat moving from the perimeter to the inner circle is detected and tracked without a single gap. They also employ diversion tactics, such as decoy vehicles or staged movements, that can confuse and misdirect potential threats before they get anywhere near the president. And yet, this is only one layer of the system. What happens when these ground units are paired with the advanced technology and pre-dement intelligence that surrounds every presidential movement takes Putin's protection to a level few leaders in the world can match. Technology as a tool of protection. Protecting Vladimir Putin is as much about technology as it is about manpower. Every public movement is wrapped in a digital and mechanical shield worth millions. At the center of it all is his armored motorcade, led by the Mercedes-Maybach S680 Guard, each vehicle valued at around $2 million. These sedans aren't just luxury cars, they are mobile fortresses with VR-10 ballistic protection, run-flat tires, and an independent oxygen supply, capabilities designed to withstand almost any emergency while keeping the interior as quiet and comfortable as a private lounge. Above ground, the security net extends into the sky. Aerial monitoring systems, including drones equipped with thermal imaging and high-resolution optics, sweep the surrounding area for unusual heat signatures or movement patterns. Each drone can cost over $50,000, and they feed a constant stream of data to command units hidden nearby. These eyes in the sky are paired with fixed surveillance points, creating overlapping zones of visibility that leave no blind spots. Communication is another layer of control. Specialized signal management systems, some worth $200,000 or more, scan and, if necessary, block suspicious transmissions to prevent interference or the triggering of remote devices. This invisible barrier is deployed not just at the event site, but along the entire route, ensuring that electronic threats are neutralized before they can even approach. Well before Putin arrives anywhere, teams have already spent weeks inspecting every angle of the location. These advanced operations involve detailed mapping, structural analysis, and even testing the strength of wireless networks in the area. They simulate crowd movement, pinpoint possible choke points, and pre-position equipment so discreetly that most people never know it's there. Tying all of this together is an encrypted communication system linking every agent, driver, and surveillance operator in real time. The network is so secure that it's been compared to systems used by space agencies, ensuring instant, confidential coordination no matter the situation. And yet, these technological layers are only part of the story, because when they're combined with intelligence operations that begin months in advance, the scale of this protection reaches a level few outside this circle can even imagine. The Wagner Group, a strategic extension. The Wagner Group is often described as a private military company, but its scale and reach place it in a category of its own. Founded by Yevgeny Prigozhin and organized militarily by Dmitry Utkin, the group has grown into a force estimated at around 50,000 personnel. Its recruitment methods range from seasoned ex-special forces to short-term contracts for specially selected individuals, some drawn in by promises of high pay and rapid advancement. This combination of experience and aggressive expansion has created a versatile unit capable of operating far from Russia's borders while maintaining a low official profile. Its role extends well beyond traditional combat. Wagner has been active in regions where conventional military deployment might attract diplomatic scrutiny, offering a way to achieve objectives without direct attribution. In certain operations, the group provides advanced training programs, intelligence support, and logistical coordination for allied forces. These activities are backed by equipment worth millions, from armored vehicles valued at $500,000 each to sophisticated surveillance systems capable of tracking targets across vast distances. Wagner's operations are known to intersect with lucrative economic interests. In parts of Africa and the Middle East, they have been linked to securing access to mineral resources, energy assets, and infrastructure projects. These ventures not only strengthen strategic influence, but also generate revenue streams that can sustain long-term deployments. In some cases, security contracts for resource-rich sites have been valued in the tens of millions of dollars annually, ensuring that operations are both strategically and financially reinforced. What makes Wagner's activities particularly complex is the way they merge military capability with economic leverage. By positioning personnel in key locations, the group can both shape events on the ground and influence negotiations at the highest levels. This dual capability allows it to operate in spaces where diplomacy, security, and commerce are deeply intertwined. And yet this is only part of the larger picture. The interplay between Wagner's field operations, its resource networks, and the political framework that enables its existence reveals a depth of coordination rarely seen in comparable organizations. A depth that becomes even clearer when examining its role alongside official state security structures. Wagner on the global stage. Across Eastern Europe, the Middle East, and Africa, the Wagner Group has become a decisive force operating far beyond Russia's borders. Officially, its presence is rarely acknowledged, yet on the ground its impact is unmistakable. In certain regions, Wagner functions as both a military partner and a strategic contractor, offering advanced training to allied forces, managing logistics for large-scale operations, and providing on-site security with resources valued in the millions. Their deployments often come with state-of-the-art armored vehicles, some costing over $500,000 each, and communications technology sophisticated enough to rival national defense systems. But Wagner's influence doesn't end on the battlefield. In parts of Africa, the group has been tied to the protection of mining concessions, oil installations, and infrastructure projects. These sites are more than just assets, they are economic lifelines worth tens of millions of dollars annually. By safeguarding these operations, Wagner not only secures vital resources, but also strengthens the political and economic ties between host governments and Moscow. It's a model that merges hard security with financial strategy, creating a cycle of influence that extends well beyond traditional military power. In the Middle East, their footprint includes roles as military advisors, security contractors for high-value facilities, and coordinators for regional supply chains. The equipment used in these missions, from armored convoys to encrypted satellite communication systems, is as much about projecting capability as it is about ensuring operational safety. Each deployment sends a clear message. Wagner can adapt to local conditions while maintaining a standard of force protection and precision that reflects significant investment. What makes this global reach so compelling is how seamlessly it integrates with broader political objectives. By operating where official military involvement might provoke international backlash, Wagner provides a layer of strategic flexibility. It's a presence that can shift the balance of power quietly, without the visible footprint of a state military intervention. Comment global reach if you think this combination of military precision, economic leverage, and political strategy makes Wagner one of the most influential private forces on the planet. And keep watching, because the next chapter reveals an internal conflict that pushed this global operation to its limits. The 2023 Wagner standoff. In 2023, tensions that had been quietly building between the Wagner Group and Russia's Ministry of Defense erupted into a public confrontation that stunned observers inside and outside the country. What began as sharp criticism from Yevgeny Prigozhin over alleged mismanagement and resource shortages escalated into something far more visible and far more dangerous. Wagner units equipped with armored vehicles valued at over $500,000 each and supported by advanced logistics networks moved to take control of a strategically important southern city. For a brief period, this city became the nerve center of a standoff that drew the attention of every major intelligence service in the world. Streets once dominated by civilian traffic saw the presence of heavily equipped personnel, their convoys forming defensive perimeters around key intersections. Behind the scenes, encrypted communications, similar in complexity to systems used by national security agencies, linked Wagner's forward positions with command elements coordinating movements toward the capital. The decision to advance was not purely symbolic. Supply routes, fuel depots, and tactical checkpoints were all factored into their strategy, showing a level of planning consistent with high-level military campaigns. Analysts later noted that some of the equipment deployed, including mobile command units and satellite-linked communications vans, could cost millions of dollars to field and maintain. This wasn't a spontaneous protest, it was a calculated maneuver. Yet the movement toward Moscow never reached its apparent conclusion. Negotiations, mediated at the highest level, brought the advance to a halt. The agreement that ended the standoff was framed as a compromise, but it left behind a series of unanswered questions about loyalty, authority, and the balance of power within Russia's security framework. What followed in the weeks afterward would deepen those questions even further, as the sudden and tragic loss of Wagner's leadership shifted the trajectory of the organization and revealed just how fragile even the most formidable operations can become when internal trust begins to fracture. The passing of Putin's chef. In the weeks following the halted advance toward Moscow, the Wagner Group faced a moment that would redefine its future. Yevgeny Prigozhin, the man often called Putin's chef for his earlier ventures in high-profile catering before building one of the most influential private military forces in the world, boarded a private jet for what was expected to be a routine flight. This was no ordinary aircraft. Valued at over $10 million, it featured custom interiors, advanced avionics, and the kind of in-flight communications normally reserved for heads of state. It was built for efficiency, discretion, and comfort. A flying command center in every sense. Midway through its journey, that sense of security shattered. The jet suffered a sudden and catastrophic failure, ending in a crash that claimed the lives of all on board. Official statements attributed the incident to mechanical issues, but within hours, alternative theories began to circulate. Aviation experts noted the aircraft's strong safety record, its rigorous maintenance schedule, and the high cost of keeping such a machine in flawless operational condition. Expenses that could run into hundreds of thousands of dollars each year. The crash site became a center of intense scrutiny. Among the twisted metal were fragments of the reinforced cabin, designed to withstand extreme conditions, alongside personal items that spoke to both the operational scope and lifestyle of those aboard. Each new detail deepened the mystery, rather than offering clarity. Inside Wagner, the absence of Prigozhin left a leadership vacuum that could not be easily filled. He had been the central figure linking the group's extensive overseas contracts, some worth tens of millions annually, to its vast logistical network and specialized equipment, from armored convoys to secure communications systems rivaling those of national militaries. Internationally, observers questioned whether Wagner could maintain its influence in Africa, the Middle East, and Eastern Europe without its founder's direct involvement. The event was more than a tragedy. It was a turning point that exposed the fragility of even the most well-resourced operations. And as the world watched, the unanswered questions about that day hinted that this chapter in Wagner's story was far from over. Loyalty, rewards, and the balance of power. Loyalty within elite security and military networks is rarely built on duty alone. It is reinforced through tangible rewards, career opportunities, and access to resources that most people never experience. For those serving in Vladimir Putin's inner protection circle, the incentives go far beyond a paycheck. Exceptional service can open doors to prestigious government appointments, diplomatic postings, or high-ranking positions in state corporations. These roles often come with significant benefits, from housing in prime Moscow districts to access to vehicles like Mercedes-Maybach sedans, each valued at around $200,000 for official use. Financially, the compensation packages are designed to retain absolute dedication. Annual earnings for senior operatives can reach levels comparable to executives in the private sector, supplemented by bonuses, travel allowances, and performance-based rewards. Some also gain indirect access to exclusive state facilities, resorts, training centers, and medical services that carry their own substantial value. The underlying message is clear. Loyalty is not only honored, it is materially rewarded. The Wagner Group operated under a similar principle, though on a different scale. High-risk deployments in regions like Africa or the Middle East came with generous pay, sometimes reaching six-figure sums for relatively short-term contracts. For many, these missions also included the use of high-value equipment, from armored vehicles worth $500,000 to advanced communication systems, tools that not only ensured operational success, but also signaled the importance of their role. Yet the events of 2023 showed that even the most well-compensated networks can face fractures. The Wagner standoff revealed how quickly cohesion can falter if leadership trust erodes. In high-level security operations, the balance between rewarding loyalty and maintaining control is delicate. Too much reliance on material incentives can create dependency without genuine allegiance, while too little recognition risks breeding dissatisfaction among those entrusted with critical responsibilities. This dynamic, the constant calibration between trust, resources, and authority, remains at the heart of elite protective structures. And as history has shown, when that balance tips, even billion-dollar operations with the most advanced equipment and highly trained personnel can find themselves vulnerable to internal shifts that no amount of armor or technology can completely prevent. Comment power and loyalty if you believe maintaining unity is just as critical as the weapons, vehicles, and technology behind these operations. And stay tuned, because the next part takes you inside how that balance is tested on the world stage. You've just seen how Vladimir Putin's personal security blends precision planning, elite training, and global strategy into one of the most complex protection systems in the world. From close-range bodyguards to strategic operations thousands of miles away, every layer works toward the same goal: keeping one of the world's most high-profile leaders safe. If you enjoyed this look behind the curtain, make sure to give this video a like, subscribe to Billionaire Story, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next untold story from the higher circles of power, wealth, and influence.